It's 9:30 on a Wednesday morning at Dogsthorpe Fire Station in Peterborough. Most of Greenwatch is on a training exercise, as the rest of the team holds the fort. In an upstairs conference room, a group of men and women is gathering to discuss health and social care for families in the city. Each member of the group works for a different agency in the city, but they are all part of the Connecting Families programme. They are called the Connectors, and their work is already contributing to big improvements in the support the city can give to families who need help. At the fire station, Community Safety Officer Barbara Russell briefs her fellow Connectors on what is being done to combat arson across the city. She then goes on to explain how the other members of the team can spot serious fire hazards on home visits.
Have they got overloaded sockets because they've got a PlayStation, a mobile phone? Emily's got straighteners and they're all plugged in and they don't unplug them and they don't think about it. So what's going on? Who lives there? What's that type of lifestyle? Do they smoke? Do they have, well, you'll get to know when you're talking to people, have they got substance misuse that's likely to make them drop off to sleep or put cooking on and forget that it's on? And we've all done that, haven't we? It's a common thing with students that they put a chip pan on and then go and turn on the TV and fall asleep. But Connecting Families are a priority, so if you have anybody that you think we ought to visit.
Connecting Families was introduced in 2012 by Sue Westcott, Executive Director Children's Services at Peterborough City Council.
This was about families that were struggling in a number of different areas. They were struggling in terms of not being in employment, in having difficulties getting their children to school, and one or the other of the family members displaying antisocial behaviour. So this was the government's attempt to say, OK, what can we do about it, and how can we make sure that all agencies work together to assist children and families in difficulties. And so what we did was that there was a very successful family recovery programme operating in Peterborough, but it was a distinct team, it was a separate team in its own right. So we expanded on that and debated it with our partner agencies in the voluntary sectors and what we decided was that there should be a virtual team so that there would be a connector identified in either an agency or a voluntary sector organisation that could actually coordinate all the assessments and activities on behalf of that children and families, because as we know that families in difficulties may have a number of different professionals visiting them, assessing them and making sure they've got the appropriate services. So this was about having one connector, unlocking resources in those agencies and making sure that they're coordinating all the help and resources available for the family.
The scheme is now being run by Assistant Director, Strategy, Commissioning and Prevention, Wendy Ogle-Welbon.
I think what Sue was able to do with the partners was to really think radically about what could we do that was different, that might have a greater success than other projects in the past, because we know why the government actually put in place the Troubled Families, because other things we'd done actually hadn't addressed the issues of families who'd got lots of difficulties. And also the key thing about this programme is we have to make sure it's sustainable. So, eventually, I think the government's hoping that agencies will be able to fund this themselves. So Sue's idea, and she did lead on this, though she got all of our partner agencies to sign up to it, was to think about a virtual team rather than an actual team, because that wasn't so vulnerable to funding being withdrawn. And in recognition that actually all of these agencies were involved with the families anyway. But one of the key things that we knew was that families get quite confused about who's doing what, and actually sometimes they end up doing nothing. So some of the feedback we've had from families is actually having one person who can actually coordinate any other agencies coming in, but can also offer that practical advice and assistance has been of benefit to them. And we've certainly seen, haven't we, an increase in school attendance, which is fantastic for children, because we know that's a massive resilience factor, even when kids have difficulties at home. We know particularly some of our young parents have been helped into either further education or work programmes. And in some areas, the incidents of antisocial behaviour have absolutely declined.
And we've also worked with Job Centre in terms of employment, so that's about making sure that some families have got the kind of support to get back into work or the appropriate training programmes. So it really is an all-encompassing Peterborough project and initiative that everybody has signed up to. So, you know, really pleased about the outcomes and the fact that we're getting very positive feedback from families who really appreciate the amount of time that the connectors spend with the family, and also the personal budget that comes with it, because the connectors have got access to a personalised budget which they can use on behalf of those families, and that might be to buy goods, or it might be to purchase some resource like some therapy for one of the children, but it's done very much in negotiation with the family. So the plans for the family are done with their cooperation and consent, as opposed to being very professional driven. This model is all about being driven by the families and the children themselves.
Nationally, the government's hoping to help 120,000 families. In Peterborough, we aim to work with 450, but actually if we get really good results, we hope to work with many more.
Peterborough's biggest social housing provider is Cross Keys Homes, and Vicky Gracie is the Cross Keys connector.
It's really helping the families, because every 2 weeks we meet and we've got a lot of different skills in that room, and I know that for the 2 weeks previous to that meeting I could be needing advice on probation. I could have somebody that's just got out of prison and I need some information. I could have a young person who might be struggling. I could need debt advice, and I can go to that meeting, or I can pick up the phone and I can contact any of my colleagues without having to go through one person or another or all the red tape, and I can pick up the phone and I can get that advice, or I can get a joint visit set up straight away, which is really beneficial because it just means everything gets done a lot quicker, and that's probably the best thing about working in this multi-agency group, is the speed that you manage to get things done.
13-year-old Alex is a Connecting Families success story. He was suffering from chest infections that he couldn't seem to shake off. This led to a worrying drop in his school attendance. Connector Poppy Williams arranged to visit Alex and his mum in their privately rented flat in the city centre. She was shocked by what she found. The house was in a terrible state of disrepair, with damp on the walls and ceilings. Alex's bedroom was particularly bad. Liaising with Housing Needs Officer and fellow connector Hayley Flaxman, Poppy was able to get Alex and his mum out of the damp flat and into a brand new apartment. Alex is already feeling better and enjoys boxing training every week at Voyager Academy, like 14-year-old Josh here, another beneficiary of the Connecting Families programme. Connecting Families led to Josh working with Dale Moore, and it was Dale's idea to get Josh along to the boxing training. It gives Josh something to do after school and provides a great way for him to release built-up tension and stress. There have been no calls for service for antisocial behaviour since Josh started working with Connecting Families.
There's a wide range and variety of different expertise in Connecting Families. For example, we have someone from the fire department, we have a member from Safer Peterborough Partnership in antisocial behaviour, we have a member from housing, we have associates from Cross Keys, and this all makes working with families much more effective and beneficial.
Since this film was made, Dale Moore has also joined boxing training. Through Connecting Families, Alcohol counsellors are working with antisocial behaviour experts. Police and probation officers are working with employment, housing and finance experts. And, as we've seen, fire safety specialists are sharing knowledge and experience with education and mental health experts.
Since coming connector for the Connecting Families, the main reason this job's changed is the fact that it's gone from being an enforcer to actually supporting these families. So for example, before I may have issued with the police an antisocial behaviour contract with a child, and instead now we'll just offer support to that family to try and prevent them getting to that stage, for example, where they would maybe receive an antisocial behaviour contract.
Connecting Families is making a big difference in Peterborough, providing quick, effective and reliable support to families who really need it.